impressive things since I've been the head coach here at UNLV is that there was a stretch there during that recruiting period where I was literally going on such fumes, an hour here, an hour there, maybe 2 hours, that I did not get to a steak dinner meal either for fundraising or for recruiting, and I didn't just put my face, plop it right into the steak, like I just conked out, like I finally hit a wall and I just fell asleep. That to me is pretty darn impressive that I went about 6 weeks of not just falling to my food and not going to sleep.
You have 4 kids?
I got 4 little kids.
Are they like on eggshells all the time? Like Coach Pastner is motivating them all the time?
You know what it is? So it's funny because I'm a morning I'm a morning person. I'm a life guy. Like I love life. I'll get up in the mornings and have all kinds of great energy. And they're all, and not everyone's like me on that. So it's a little bit of a fight in the household at times. And I've had to learn to maybe tone it down with them because, look, I got 3 daughters and a little son. And my daughters they keep me in check on that. They're like, Dad, that's enough. Okay. You're like, it's like the Jerry Maguire movie, where that agent's like Dickie Fox is in, and he wakes up. Every day you wake up, you just clap your hands and, stuff like that. So that's kind of how I am in the mornings, but I got to maybe tone it down with my daughters a little bit.
The energy is a great thing. You want to have that spread throughout your program. And,
that's right.
John Gruden actually had he didn't name who it was, but he had a great comment about energy vampires. And like high energy people, you don't want energy vampires around people who are kind of mopey or negative. Like it doesn't help the organization.
A great book is The Energy Bus by John Gordon. And John Gordon, he's wrote many books. John Gordon, Jon Gordon, and I'm not getting any profit off of it. No NIL deals or anything. I've read the book. He's had many books, but The Energy Bus is a great book, and he talks about that in there. That there's energy givers, energy takers, and the takers are energy vampires. And when you're on and I've always talked about this. He uses the word bus. I use the word caravan. Like on a caravan, that thing's moving. There's no handlebars. You're either 2 feet in or you're 2 feet out. And you can't be kind of hanging on the handlebar and scraping with one foot and going around. No. You're either in or out. And part of being in or out is also about body language, because your body language, which it screams. It doesn't whisper. It screams. And I'm telling you, when people are watching you play, and you get subbed out of the game, you understand this, and you kind of mope off, or you got shrugging your shoulders, you got that sour look on your face. People get turned off about that in the fans, and people who don't coach you and know you every day might think something of you because of your body language. So nonverbal communication, we're big about that. I show a lot of film on that. In fact, I will show guys film of them in the film room. Like if they're sitting down and they're like laying down and kind of slouch underneath, and I'll show that on the film. Tell me what your body language is telling me right now. So I'm telling you, body language, even though it's nonverbal, it does not whisper, it screams. And a lot of that can come off, as Coach Gruden mentioned, about being an energy vampire, energy taker, and I don't like that.
It's funny, though, because a lot of it's contagious, right?
Absolutely.
If you get around the right people with the right energy, things are going positive, moving in the right direction. Your former teammate, my brother Jason Terry, I remember when he was telling me when I was in high school, going to college and trying to go pro, he was like, if you come out of a game, don't be the guy sitting on the bench, not cheering for your teammates. He's like, make sure you're up, clapping, waving the towel. Be the energy guy, because it's not even about your teammates. They're going to see it, but it's about everybody else that's watching. Just like you said, Coach, the people around are going to notice that, but then if your teammates start picking up on that, then you're starting to detract from where you guys are trying to move this thing forward. Like you said, the caravan's not going to be moving forward with bad energy.
Well, and part of that is, we talk about coming to UNLV, and I know in this day and age, it's not, it could be year by year. I get that, but you're still looking. I tell people this is a 40-year decision, and you're sitting there on the bench. And if you don't have great body language, that someone in the stands who you might want to be 10 years from now, maybe go into a business with, and they see if you're moping and and you're having that bad body language, you're gonna get turned off. They're gonna be turned off by you, and you're gonna lose opportunities later on down the road. So those are type of things that part of, even though there's still NIL and there's all this stuff right now, that's still part of our job is to educate these young men to understand about the big picture, as you just mentioned, in life for beyond basketball.
Josh Pastner is with us. I know you wanted to ask about, you can see you were always a guy who had the gift for gab, high energy. I know you wanted to ask about media, his media past.
Yeah, taking the last few years and doing media, I'm curious what benefits you feel you got from that now coming back into coaching.
Yeah, look, I've worked for great networks, worked for ESPN, worked for CBS Sports, worked for Turner, NBC, Peacock. So I've been around. I've seen it for, and a lot of people have always asked me, even the different networks. Tell me what they do at this network. Tell me what they do at that network. So to be able to be around the bosses, I've worked for great bosses, been with great colleagues, great people in production and behind the scenes. It's been an awesome experience. And it's given me an opportunity to really study the game, number one, without having the pressure of having to make decisions of winning and losing on what you want to do in that game plan. I've been able to really study and see different things and have a better grasp on it. Two, talking to coaches and going to practices and shoot-arounds. When I was coaching, when I was in the ACC, no one would let me go through because I was competing against them. And they were going to give you behind their secrets. Man, I got so much information, on that. And three, the respect I have for you three, for anyone in the media. It is a hard job. And when you have someone in your ear telling you, because I did a lot of studio work, hey man, when you have like 7 seconds, 8 seconds to get out of your thought and to learn, and I had to learn how to dismount. Now I'm not real good at right now at dismounting, but how to dismount out of your thought quickly is not easy. So the respect I have for the media, I understand it. I have a great respect for it, but I think it's made me a better coach and had a better understanding on the other side of what the media is like.
Josh Pastner in studio with us. Let's stick with the word respect. So the respect that I have for coaches now who have embraced the current situation and looked for solutions is immense, because I'm tired of hearing coaches whine about the portal, NIL. Listen, it's different. It sucks. You guys make a good living, so solve the problems. And I think your attitude on this has been really good. I actually believe you. I think there's some other people who are like, you just say, like, I believe you and your approach that there are positives out of this. And I got to say, you were putting together a really good team. I thought 2 of your final recruits were really important in terms of guys who have been around the block. They were leaders on their teams. And I'm talking about Kamani Hamilton, who's probably going to play, 4 or 5, whatever, 4. And then you got a point guard with experience at a winning program in Miles Shea.
Well, to answer two parts of your question, the first thing is anyone who thinks that I'm just saying this as a kind of a coach speak is the exact wrong on that. I believe, first of all, what you see with me is what you get. I'm just telling you that right now. I am not into making fairy tale things up. I believe this style, like I love the new recruiting model, how it is. I love that. You know why? Because I'm a guy that does not want to waste time. I believe less is more and being efficient. And the old way, I'm telling you, when you're chasing a guy for 3 years and then he comes down to 5 final schools and then you're trying to fight just to get an official visit and then he doesn't come to your way, it's crushing and and then if you get him, it's like you've reached the pinnacle. I mean, it's a recruit, but you spend 3 years of your life. Do you think that at 47 I want to be talking to a 16-year-old at 9 at night and asking how his day is, filming it and having an hour of conversation about just come on. But now I do it because that's part of the deal. But now it's a different deal. Hey man, let's just cut all the chase out and get right to the point. Like, who's your agent? Okay, where's this going kind of financially? Let me tell you how we can, what we're going to do here with program-wise, how we're going to do it, where you fit in, and then we can talk to the business part of it financially. And instead of a 2 to 3 year deal, it becomes a 2-3 week decision. And it just makes it so much more efficient. So yes, I love it. I understand that, and I've said this, 5 things. Number 1, you got to be great at evaluation. I think evaluating is important. 2, you better recruit when you get them on campus, getting guys better, demanding excellence, and having them improve. 3, you've got to coach with such excellence and holding them accountability. I think that's a critical thing, and with the understanding that the entire team is probably going to transfer when the year's done. If you're trying to coach and worrying about being, hey, if he didn't touch the line, don't tell him anything because let him slide by that because we want to try to keep him. Nope, that won't work. 4, okay. You better be up front with your team immediately. Like, hey, man, everyone here is making money, but everyone's making different money. So let's just call the elephant in the room. Like, let's just call it like it is. You can't be telling 3 guys over here and 3 over there. Like, don't say anything about. No. Everyone's making different money. And then 5, when the ball's tipped, you're going to play the best guys on the floor. It's not a political game of you're playing the guys who make the most money. It's the best guys on the floor who are the best who can help UNLV win the game. And yes, Kamani Hamilton and Miles Shea are good players, by the way.
We got like 30 seconds. I know you don't want to single anyone out. Why is Shea important? We were just talking about, the head of the snake, the point guard.
Yeah, well, Miles Shea's good because he comes from UC Irvine's and well coached by Russ Turner there, but also he's been around winning. And you know what? He's tough, he's hard nosed, and there's a ball on the floor. Like let me just say one. I know I got real quick.
Time.
15. Okay, real quick. Halftime of a game last year, they were playing here. UC Irvine was playing at Lee's Family Four, and they were going off of halftime. Someone saw this and told me about it. He got into because their teammates weren't playing hard. He got right up into their grill and was screaming at them at halftime because they weren't playing. They weren't competing. That's why I love the kid.
It's Cofield Company on ESPN Las Vegas and ESPN Reno.
Rolling up. Second half of the 4 o'clock hour. This hour is brought to you by Battleborn Injury Lawyers. 766-1400 is the number. Another intro to Josh Pastner. But, we're getting closer to guys reporting, so we can really start talking basketball here. We got a couple more minutes. Let's talk about development and kind of the way this roster is built with, some ones, lots of, hybrid 2, 3s, and 4s.
Yeah, and I think the interesting thing is, Coach, you were just talking about this. I mean, but now in the business of college basketball, guys are worried about the NIL, the money that they're going to get, their playing time, and I would think like their development in terms of how can you help them get from point A to point B or the next level, whatever that is. And I know you've told the story before, but in terms of, and I talked to Jet yesterday, but your morning workouts at the playground with Jet, Mike Dickerson, and Mike Bibby. In terms of the guys that you've worked with, that you've moved from high school to college to the pros, how big and important is that for you with the guys that you recruit in terms of helping them get to their dreams ultimately?
Well, and you can ask Jason Terry, this, with being your brother, the whole survivability of my career has been in player development.
Right.
I believe in sweat equity. I believe being in the trenches with the guys. I believe being in the foxhole with the guys. I'm a big believer in you've got to, you're on the floor with the guys, and so player development is everything. And I don't care if a guy on the NIL is making $10 million, $3 million, or $3,000. They should, if they're a competitor, they're going to want to be coached hard and be held to a high standard, demanded excellence, and want to get better. And part of that is the player development on that. So that's got to be a big thing. That's got to be our survivability. And I'm hoping that we'll have the opportunity to do, because I'm a big believer in doing skill instruction and player development even during the team practice part of it. So whether it's earlier in the mornings or, to the day to get that in.
Now, you've been around the block, and I mean that in a good way, obviously, but with your time with Coach O and Coach Calipari, but when you guys won the national championship in '97, we go back to Indianapolis to RCA Dome. I might get goosebumps, my childhood fanboy moment. I was there. I'll show you the pictures. I brought them. What do you think, though, that in terms that you learned from playing under those Hall of Fame coaches and coaching with them, that's going to allow you to be able to elevate UNLV back to where it needs to be, like you talked about, on that national level, national brand? Yeah,
look, I've been fortunate to be around two Hall of Famers in Lute Olson and John Calipari. And I've learned a lot from both of them, obviously. I've also been a head coach for 14 years and at a high level and have been able to grow as a coach. And I believe at 47, I'm a better coach today than I was when I was 37. I wish what I knew today, I could take my first job at Memphis when I was at 31 and start over again. As much as we won at Memphis, we would have been even wanting much more. But that's part of maturation and growth on that. So, yes, I've got to be comfortable in my own skin. I can't be Lute Olson, can't be John Calipari, can't be Jerry Tarkanian. I can't be Lon Kruger. I got to be Josh Pastner and what I feel is best to move the program forward. And I believe I have a good vision, an understanding of what needs to be done for everyone's for the city's program, for everybody's program, on how to move it forward and get it to where everybody wants it to be. Is it going to be easy? Of course not. Everybody here knows that's why sports is the greatest reality TV show, because you have a scoreboard. There's a winner and loser, and everybody wants to win. So, but part of it is a lot of it is laying the foundation, the groundwork on what we've got to do. Yes, you got to have really good players, but they got to be developed. You got to hold them to a high standard. You got to get a little lucky along the way. Maybe a ball bounced your way here or there. But if you can be consistent in that and just be who you are every day and hold that line, then usually things work your way.
Really quick, less than 30. What sort of maneuverability do you have with a non-con schedule? This is not easy when you come into a job.
Well, there's two big things. Number one, there's a lot of games already locked in. and two, which I was not aware of, the rodeo.
Yep.
And that makes it hard. And so they said, hey, listen, you could win 2 national championships back to back. You won't be able to move the rodeo. So you might have to win 10. You know what I mean? But so a lot of games are already locked in, and then there's rodeo. So I think probably the more of what everybody wants, the scheduling wise, of what everybody's probably visioning and wants for in Thomas and Mack in the future is going to be more reality in 26, 27. I only say that because we were locked in on some things. There's some games that we're just locked in on, and dates and different things like that. So it's more about for this year. It's about supporting your team, your program, because we need to have a 6th and 7th man in that arena.
UNLVtickets.com to get the season tickets. Get them now.